This program is produced by Eagle Mountain Apostolic Resource Center. To find additional episodes of this program, as well as other content, visit eaglemountain.tv.
I'm going on record right now, I've never had a harebrained idea.
He's had lots of ideas that have hair on them.
Did you just say I've had lots of ideas with hair on them?
Yes. Okay.
Oh my goodness. What?
The devil?
I found him.
Why am I not surprised that he's in here?
He's over here in this bucket. There he is. Mr. Sin! Not bothering us anymore.
How are you doing there, Foxy?
Such a beef wit.
Do you know who you're talking to? I'm Mr. Sin. You can't talk to me like that. You don't have to be rude.
I said beef wit.
Beef wit, that's even worse. No, I'm not a fan of that, but I am a fan of finding out what you're doing after this show. Maybe we could go grab some drinks or something. What do you say?
No thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Chris Behnke and I am here with Prudence O'Hare.
That's me.
And we also have some amazing guests. I'm super excited to have you guys on. We've got Ryan and Brianna Collins. And I've got this questions that I'm supposed to ask because I used to always say, how are you guys doing? And Prudence was like, never say that again. You say that every single episode. You need to forever stop saying that over and over and over again. So unfortunately, I'm still saying it by referencing that I'm not supposed to say
You're
it.
Not
So
even
I'm just
supposed
going
to
to go
reference it.
right into this. Instead, I have these other questions. So, okay, we'll start with you, Prudence. Who is the most famous person you have ever met?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
I
What do
don't
you mean?
remember
How
meeting
could you not
somebody
know?
famous.
You've never met anyone famous?
I don't think so. I am kind of sheltered.
Well, you've met Brian and you've
Mickey
met
Mouse?
Ryan and
I don't
Brianna
know.
Collins, and they're famous.
Oh, yes.
So they're the most famous
the most
people you've
famous.
ever met. That's fantastic. So if you guys don't know who these guys are, they're amazing. So Ryan is the CEO of Bethel Tech and the president of Bethel College, and Brianna is his beautiful bride, and they're both authors. We're going to get into their books in a second, but now you guys got to answer. You guys, who is the most famous person you guys have ever met?
Oh man. Okay, so I feel like there's this thing where I just randomly run into famous people. So, but I would say the most contact I had with the most famous person would probably be Nick Offerman. Do you guys remember him? What's his name on Parks and Rec?
What was his name? He's the funny.
He's the guy that's like always like stone faced.
Yeah.
He's on Parks and Rec. I met him in Whole Foods once, and that was like that walked me because that's one of my favorite shows. And Tony Danza. I've met Tony Danza.
Okay. Really? Okay, Ryan, how about you?
I got nothing on that. I'll tell you that one right now. Tony Danza is that's way up here.
If you were to ask our girls who the most famous people were that I've ever met, it would have to be NSYNC. They're like huge NSYNC fans. I have brought them into the 90s with me.
Yeah.
I haven't met NSYNC. I feel like 5
Yeah, I did kind of meet Randy Travis one time.
Okay.
And that felt pretty great.
Yeah, so okay. That counts. That counts for sure. Okay, so we warned you guys about the trivia, but I didn't warn you about this question.
Yeah.
So that was you all did amazing. I feel like that none of the answers were that incredible though. But that's okay. That's all right. I'm cool with it. So, but we need to immediately move into trivia.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I've shifted gears.
Okay. Are you guys ready? You guys don't even know what you're in for, but this is.
I'm a little scared, but also super competitive.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a cheers button here. So far, Prudence O'Hare has never been defeated by anyone.
That is a fat
had.
lie, and you shouldn't be lying on the show.
Oh, sorry, Buckley. Okay, all right. We're going to go into the first trivia question. Here it is. Okay, here we go. We're only going to do let's see. Let's do 4 questions. Let's do 5 questions.
Okay.
Ready?
5.
These are animal trivia. That's on Prudence. If you don't like animal trivia, that's on her. Okay, here it is. First one. A newborn kangaroo is about the size of a... Wait. Everybody guess first. You can guess first, Prudence. How big? This is kind of a weird question because a lot of things can be this size.
I think it's probably like a lima bean or something.
Okay, so one guess for lima bean. What do you guys think?
I mean, I was going to go with like peanut.
Yeah. I'm going to go with like baby mouse or something.
Baby mouse. Okay, so I'm going to give Brianna and Prudence the answer because the answer... No, I'm going to give them credit. You guys get cheers. Okay, because the answer was lima bean, but a peanut's about the size of a lima bean.
Really? The answer
answer's
really is lima bean.
No joke.
I
Like you
totally
can look
was
at my
guessing.
screen. Check it out. Actually, don't look at my screen. Ryan did not get it. Ryan,
This is rigged.
a baby mouse is probably adorably cute, but definitely not the right answer. Okay, so all right. So far the ladies are destroying you, Ryan. But I'm running it, so I can't even help out. So you're kind of on your own. Okay, next question. What is the smallest mammal in the world?
The smallest mammal.
The smallest mammal in the world. Prudence, you have this. You know this.
Is
Actually,
it a
I don't think you know
shrew?
this. A shrew. Okay, we got one answer for shrew. What do you guys think?
I was thinking something like that actually, but I don't know.
What is a shrew?
It's like the tiniest mouse.
Okay, so it's like a, okay.
Like a baby mouse.
A baby
Yeah.
like a baby mouse. This is a recurring theme. This is a recurring theme. Brianna, do you have a different answer, or are you going to go like the Collins household?
I mean, the only thing I could think of was like a bat. I think
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. It's like, yeah, I like that. I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
So you said bat, right?
I was actually thinking that too.
Okay. So he's switching up here. He's pretending like he was thinking about. The answer is bumblebee bat.
Oh, it is a bat. You guys win.
You guys win.
Oh, where's...
You guys for sure win that one. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. What animal... this is super weird. I don't even know how they
Bring
figured
it
this out.
on, Chris.
What animal has the highest blood pressure?
Highest blood pressure.
Like, who knows that? Who would know that? A veterinarian would know that. That's it. I'll give you a hint. A veterinarian from Africa would know this. You got to guess quick.
I'm going to go with
Rhinoceros.
Okay, we got a rhino guess. What do you guys think? You guys can team up. You guys can even discuss.
I mean, those guys are...
We're one, so you know. That's. I was going to go with gazelle or something like that. Something that's constantly looking over its shoulder.
I was going to go with hyena because they're small. So,
Oh, hyenas are definitely uptight.
Let's go hyena. I like that.
Hyena, because they're wound up. The answer is giraffe. Everyone loses. Everyone loses. Giraffe. That's super weird. I did learn this weird thing about giraffe. They have the same number of vertebrae as humans.
Yep, I knew that.
Crazy. That's super wacky. Okay, last one. So far, Ryan and Brianna are 100%, and you've got none right.
No, I got lima bean right. I got the lima bean
Getting
right.
defensive. Okay, here we go. Last one is, how far away can a wolf smell its prey?
5 miles.
Okay, we got a 5-mile guess. What do you guys think?
that is so much further than I was going to say. Yeah, it's going to be like, I don't know.
2 miles.
Sure, we'll go with yours. Let's try that.
2 miles. Let's go 2 miles.
2 miles? Is that what you said? 2 miles is 100% dead on, exactly correct.
I way overguessed that. It's
I
a good thing
appreciate you-
too
By
because
the
we
way,
got them in
Prudence,
the area now.
I appreciate you not cheating because literally on this giant 60-inch TV behind the camera is the actual answer.
Yes,
because it's my
I
laptop.
know, and so I specifically stared at you.
Thank
Well,
you.
in all fairness, I just measured my thinking based on yours. So if you would have said 20 miles, I would have been like, let's go with 15. So
we'll give you partial credit.
All
We'll give you
right.
partial credit for
I get
that.
partial credit for starting me on the right track.
This has never happened before, but everyone got 100%. Nice job, you guys. Nice job.
you know what?
Excellent job. That is so good. That is so
I
good.
really want prizes for this.
You want prizes?
Yes.
Okay, prize is, real quick before we kick this off, the prize is you're going to read out of that book.
Yeah,
we have this book.
Yep, really quick. 1,200 words you should know to sound smart. We are educating the world.
You guys are like, what did we sign? What kind of interview did we sign up for?
I love this. Is great. I actually love that.
Yeah.
So this book, I think if you memorize these 1,200 words and you just roll around dropping these words on people, you are going to not sound smart. You're going to sound like a weirdo. That's what I think.
Okay.
Drop
Here's one. Auto detect.
Auto detect?
No,
No?
it's not detect. It's a self-educated person. So here's the sample. In the 20th century, the library was the university of the autodidact. In the 21st century, it is the internet. So I'm not going to remember this.
Wait. So read the definition again.
It's a self-educated person.
Huh. So the internet is not a person.
Well, neither is a library. So I don't know.
So Ryan, you got to figure out how to work that into something like official, like some kind of, next time you're speaking at Bethel or something, you got to work in autodidact. And if you do, then there'll be a prize. I will mail you a prize. They're going to be like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but okay. You guys, thank you for being a good sport. That was super fun. I don't know about the autodidact. I feel like that's the first word out there. That's a little bit false. I don't know about your book.
I consider myself that.
You're
in
an
a lot of ways.
autodidact? You're an autodidact? Oh my goodness. Well, none of that is what this episode's about at all. None of that is what this episode is about. Is we have got these two amazing people. Both of them are authors, and I would love to get into. You guys have both written books. I believe they're very different from each other, but I'd love to get into those. So Ryan, I have known Ryan a little while now. We're beginning to know each other. Met you. You were speaking for an event I think that we were managing, and then you came and you spoke at an event we were running called Hub Nation, which was awesome. And you wrote a book called The God of Tech. So I think we should just launch into that first. Now, a lot of the people that are watching this may not know Ryan. They may not know Bethel, that Bethel has these schools. If you don't know about any of that, you owe it to yourselves to go to the show notes. We'll put some links in there to Bethel Tech and Bethel College. You guys need to check that out because it's amazing. But let's talk about the book. So set us a foundation, Ryan. What is the book about? And why did you feel like it was important to write it? And then we'll kind of go from there and we'll meander around and end up with Brianna's amazing book as well.
Yeah. No, so, we launched Bethel School of Technology in 2018, January 2018. So it's 6 years old. And we launched it as the first, and it's still the only online Christian coding school in the world. And we're based out of Redding, California, which is 3.5 hours east of Silicon Valley, which I would say is the most influential zip code in the world today. And we knew that there'd be a lot of churches and ministries that were championing us on, supporting us. But one of the unexpected impacts was that we started getting invited. I started getting invited to places like Facebook,
Wow.
Google, Apple, LinkedIn, Salesforce. And they're all highly curious about our school. And it wasn't the tech skills training that really piqued their curiosity. It was the fact that we focused on character building skills like healthy relationship and community, culture of honor, brave communication, nobility, trustworthiness. And so we had a seat at the table at these places because of our character skills, which we know are all kingdom values, which is awesome because kingdom values should be attractive to the world when they're done in authenticity. So I remember one day I was in the Bay Area and I had just got done meeting with Salesforce and I was driving across the Bay Bridge to meet with Apple. And I was stuck in traffic and I heard the Lord say something that forever changed me. He said, "Ryan, I'm redeeming the tech space so that all would taste and see my goodness. And it's going to be a seismic shift." And so that really struck me, and it calibrated really our mission at Bethel Tech. We weren't just getting people in and getting them out to get jobs, but we were a catalyst for a move of God in the marketplace and in the tech space. And the dream and our mission is to bring revival to and through this influential sphere of society. And so then about 6 months later, I was driving again, and I heard the Lord say, Ryan, what do you think I meant when I said I'm redeeming the tech space? And my assumption was that he was grafting something in that was built apart from him, but he uses all things for his good. And he said, you need to look up what the word redeem means. So as soon as I possibly could, the next stop I had, I looked up what the word redeem means, and it means regain possession of. He said, Brian, I'm regaining possession of something that is near and dear to my heart, that I have a plan and a purpose for, and it's important for you to understand the origins of technology and science. And so it piqued my curiosity, and I went on this journey. I had to know, was there a moment in modern history where the Lord partnered with Spirit-led believers to create the foundations of our modern tech space? And once you start on that journey, I think the Lord loves, Proverbs 25:2 that says, it's the glory of the Lord to conceal a matter, it's the glory of kings to search a matter out. He's not withholding because he is trying to be malicious. He's actually withholding as an invitation to know him more. And so as I journeyed on this path of discovery, I found that in the mid-19th century, there were these incredible Spirit-led believers out of Cambridge in the UK who partnered with the Lord to create the foundation of our modern tech space. And what he told me is we have to rediscover our modern origin in order to move us forward and activate this next great move of God through Spirit-led innovation. And so that really is the whole book. And I'll just say this and I'll stop. But Billy Graham in 2000 said that the next great move of God would come from believers in the marketplace. And I fully believe that that is true, and that as kingdom-minded believers, we are called to engage the space to be the tipping point for that revival. And it's wonderful because what we're doing right now with technology, I mean, we've never been able to communicate to the masses in a way that we can now with the push of a button. So that really is the kind of the premise of the whole book.
Wow. I absolutely love that, because I think that for way too long, a lot of times, I mean, not always, there's always exceptions, but a lot of the church, a lot of Christianity has kind of seen some things that are evil in advances in technology, and therefore kind of deemed it as something that they should stay away from. And the problem is you then let the enemy just take it and use it. Yeah. So I love that the Lord gave you the word redeem, because he didn't say get rid of or start a new version. It was, recapture.
Yeah. And I'll say this too, to your point, that's an incredible point, because what happened after these Spirit-led believers set this foundation for our modern technology and science, the church didn't take the baton. There's a particular individual, James Clerk Maxwell, out of Cambridge, Michael Faraday, Charlie Babbage, who is considered the father of the computer. He created a blueprint 150 years ago of what the digital computer would look like today. It's pretty fascinating. It was all revelation from the Lord. And but we didn't take the baton. So anything that has power, the enemy will counterfeit. And so we just left this beautiful gift on the side of the road for the enemy to be able to weaponize. And so now we're 4 or 5 generations apart from that, distance from that. And now when you think of the tech space, most people would say that it's an entirely humanistic endeavor built apart from God, and really even denies God's existence. So redeeming that is really, really important, because we have the mind of Christ. We are called to partner with him to bring heaven to earth. And the working definition in the tech space of innovation is to move humanity forward. And I love that definition, but I think it's incomplete. And Brianna, actually, and this became a theme of the book, and if you read it, you find this very early on. We were having this couch conversation, and she said, Ryan, I think innovation's true intent is to move humanity to heaven. I don't know if you want to expound on that, but it really was like this aha moment. It's like, oh, this book is going to come together really well. It was wonderful.
that. Yeah, for me, I think it's something where when we read in the Bible all of the different analogies, or Jesus always spoke in parables. It was what was current in that day, and really what was the technology of that day, and all technology had to do with farming, or it had to do with even things that we consider very basic. These were things that were extremely new to them, even in the medical field for them. The things that they were learning, and so everything that Jesus spoke, it was the parable to that generation, and the way that they were able to communicate and to understand what the kingdom of heaven looks like. And so I think now, we're at this place, and God is not too small to be able to communicate to us in a way that is relevant to this time. And so I just feel that moving humanity heavenward, that technology, whatever your day is, that God has a story to tell you of how this relates to kingdom, and how it is a way to search out more and to dream and partner with Him. And so,
That's so good. That is so good. Did you have a question written down?
I didn't have necessarily a question, but Ryan, you were saying that that kingdom values should be attractive to the world if it's done authentically.
Ooh, that's good.
I think that is so awesome that you're incorporating that piece within your schooling. I think that that's kind of uncommon, and it shouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing.
So, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think sometimes as believers, we've bought into the false narrative that there are these walls there that actually don't exist, and if we just press on them a little bit, that they come crumbling down. So if we're engaged, if we know as believers that we have the kingdom of heaven inside of us, and we get to carry that wherever we go, we have full confidence that superior authority will trump anything that is a counterfeit or an inferior reality. And so being able to go into these spaces and be able to bring the love of Christ and be able to share, I think the misconception is that so many people in this sphere have outwardly rejected Christ. But I would say to you that so many of them that I've talked to have actually never heard the gospel in its authenticity. Nobody's ever taken the time to truly represent the love of Christ to them. And I think if we would do that, we would see this powerful move of these people who are so innovative, who are operating in their gifts. They know the what, but they don't know their why, the true why behind their what. So we get to carry that. So it means that we get to use technology in so many ways as the body of Christ. For some, that means being a world-class coder or getting into the most advanced and emerging technologies. For others, it means actually engaging the space as an evangelist or a business person, wherever, or an intercessory prayer warrior. But the point is the church cannot run away from this. We actually have to run to it, and that's what we'll see the redemption that the Lord sharing with me.
Yeah, and I think the skills that Brian's talking about, the soft skills, where we're really going after integrity. I think, the Bible warns us to not call what is holy common. And I think that a lot of times the churches accidentally call things that are holy common. What I mean by that is when we have a culture of honor, when we have great communication, when we walk in integrity in what we do. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to preach this verse, this verse, this verse to you. There are other things that are holy as well, and that is how we treat each other, and to actually show the image of Christ where we go. And so it's not being not spiritual to go in with high integrity into a company and to honor the company you work for and your clients and everyone around you. That's actually holy. That's actually bringing the power and the kingdom of heaven into your workspace.
Yeah. The number one character skill that companies are looking for, I don't know, Gallup or Forbes, somebody did this survey recently. It was trustworthiness, which is, how integrous are you? And trustworthiness is not just in, how you talk, but it is, do you show up every day at work and you bring excellence in your skill and character? And that skill part is a big thing. If you're doing things that are uncommon, that are so astounding that it causes somebody to ask why, It's like Daniel in Nebuchadnezzar's court. Like he was considered 10 times more capable than the other wise men, and to the point where Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 4 of Daniel opens by saying, "To the Most High God, from whom I've seen the greatest signs and wonders." We need Daniels in these spaces that lead people to an encounter with Christ because of what they've seen displayed in the excellence of Christ's ambassadors.
Man, that is so powerful, because I think that we kind of get in these little like modes of complacency where we just kind of like, well, that's just the way that it is. But what I hear you saying, and what I hear you saying, that it was the reason that we need to be thinking about this now. It's the reason you wrote the book, and just really kind of needs to be a focus on it, is for too long we've kind of relegated our responsibility over to the world, and then we're kind of sitting here wondering why the world has gone this direction. But right now, more than any time in history, people are searching. Like, I think it's telling, and it's interesting that the way that you said, a lot of Christians believe that a lot of the leaders inside the technology space are actively against what God wants or God himself. And I'm sure that there are some that are, but what's interesting is a lot aren't even aware. But we're in a time in history where people are searching. So if you just go to Netflix and then look at the top, I think it's the top 20 at the top of Netflix, like what's the trending top 20 shows right now. And last time I did this experiment, which is a couple months ago, I went and looked at it, and out of the top 20, 15 of them had a spiritual component, if you include superhero stuff. Mm-hmm. So like 15 of the 20 top things in our country right now, so it was a U.S. kind of survey of the top 20 shows, have a supernatural component. That means people are looking, they're trying to understand this part of who they are. So now more than ever, it's so critically important to have like answers to this. Like people are trying to figure out who they are, why the world is the way that they are. We've kind of society's moved from needing to figure out how to store up enough grain for the winter to kind of thinking about higher things. And so now we're in a place like we never have had before in history where, it's like a new renaissance, right? Like it's a time for us to really pay attention to that. And the church needs to be there because we have the answers. We have the answers. Like we need to be at the table to give the answers.
Yeah. I think probably one of the reasons why we as Christians haven't been stabbing into the workplaces is because we largely haven't understood our identity and place in who we are. Like if you don't have that, you don't have much confidence in what you're telling people. So that kind of jetways into the book that you wrote, yes, Brianna, that mirror image. And do you want to touch base a little bit on what that is about and how you got started?
Yeah, and real quick before you do that, if you're listening to this or you're watching this, we're going to put links to these books and the bios and everything and social media posts. So make sure and take the time to go check this stuff out. But yeah, Mirror Image, a book about identity, freedom, and Jesus. Brianna, what's that about? I mean, I think it might be about identity, but
identity, freedom, and Jesus. Yeah. So kind of in line with what we're talking about, I think that God is calling the Big C Church to a new level of maturity and growing into Him. And the kingdom, any type of promotion or growth or maturity actually requires far more dependence on Him. And I believe this new season that God's calling the church into is the ability to be able to steward truth and tension. And one of those things is identity. Identity, before I realized, kind of went through my own journey of like even understanding that identity was important. Ever since then, I feel like it has become so obvious that we function, everything we do is out of identity. And who does God want to reveal? Why did Jesus come? He came to show us the Father. Identity is really important. Jesus is the identity of God. And So for me, what God was starting to lead me into is that he's asking us to steward the truth and tension of, we need to know identity, but I believe God is saying, it's not your identity I want you to seek out. I actually want you to go to the superior search of my identity. And C.S. Lewis says it this way. He says, look for Christ and you will find him, and with him, everything else. And so I think, for me, my initial search for identity started out with, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And I kept going back to where I was at. And those things are good. I believe God wants you to find that. But my route, like the path that I was taking to get there, kind of started with me and ended with me. And I felt like God was saying, I want to call you to more. I want you to be able to hold the truth of who you are, but it's within the confines of who I am, which are infinite. And so within that search for identity, it's amazing how going after who Jesus is and going after what he's done for us, freedom is the byproduct of that. And, there's the scripture says that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
Right.
And so when you go after the identity of Christ, you're going to find freedom in his presence and who he is. And so I saw that those things were very closely linked. And then one step past that, I saw that once you are set free, you've been set free to set others free. And so the Lord was just kind of showing this continual path of like, look for me, look for me, look for me. And as you find me, you will find who you are. And as you find who you are, you will find your freedom in me. And then you're meant to go and take that to the world around you. So it's amazing how God has set up this beautiful pattern for us to seek him first, to seek first his kingdom. And so so this was actually a 7-year journey for me, actually, to write this book. And so it was kind of interesting the way that God matured that in me, right? And I got through probably writing half of the book in like 2 or 3 months, about 7 years ago. And so I'm thinking, this is great. I'm almost there. I was pulling together a lot of teaching that I was doing on identity and freedom at that time. And then we got the biggest surprise of our lives, that our third child was on the way. And so it was one of those things where we're like, okay, let's regroup a little bit.
Best surprise ever.
Yeah, best surprise ever. Her name is Ever. And so we say she's our best surprise ever. And so putting it down for a while, it's amazing how the Lord was able to mature that message even more. And so it just came out just the end of last year. And I'm just really thankful for this, like I said, like this progression that God has shown me of this deep maturing of faith, which looks like a far greater dependence on him. And so,
yeah. I'll say this too, guys, real quick, is when Brianna first started writing the book, it was 7 years ago. It was before we even started Nothing Tech. I was working at another company. I was traveling a lot, and she would send me drafts of, these were the early chapters, and they were so good. I started sharing them with my coworkers who were also believers, and we just had these really awesome conversations around identity, and it was wonderful. And so, it's been, I firsthand felt the power of what the Lord was sharing to and through Brianna, and then for her to finish it up this last year and put it out is really special.
Yeah, essentially what Privilege is, it's a book of revelations of the identity of Christ. And so my heart and my prayer is that when people read this book, that they will encounter him in a new way, and in a way that obviously as you see him, you will find who you are in him.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. So you mentioned that the route that you took to find you was always through you. That's what you said, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, yes, I can we're all busy trying to figure out who we are, and we're paying like hundreds, thousands of dollars to therapists to talk to them.
Yeah.
Sort it all out, and it's just like this Band-Aid over something that just isn't really getting healed.
Yeah.
So did you have a lot of years of therapy or counseling or anything like that in your past where you've just kind of felt like you've been spinning your wheels at all?
Yeah, for me it was always this quest to, how can I gain as much control as possible. And it wasn't because I think it's because I want to be my own God, but I wanted to know, like, just what's the formula, God? Just give me the rules and the formula that I need in order to basically manage myself. How can I manage myself the best way? And so I think there are a lot of times we find ways that we can kind of manage and we kind of make do and we can see progress, and those things can be good.
Yeah.
But what God is saying is, well, I would rather do transformation. What if we go to transformation? Because if I transform you, you're going to transform others.
Right.
And so, for me, it was one of those things where God was like, okay, you want control, but let me tell you why you want control. It's a fruit of the Spirit. And so why do you want the fruit of the Spirit? Well, because it's my spirit. You're going to need to go after me.
Right. Right.
And so I think, like relinquishing the idea of what can I manage, like I said before, and actually what he's saying is, how can you be more dependent on me? And so, it was definitely this learning process of, I actually had to lay down the search that I thought was going to give me what I needed. There's always an exchange. And for me, I think there were times where I had, we have 3 girls, and our 13-year-old, she was going through just a very, very dark, deep postpartum depression. And in that time, God was able to show me, as I went through the trenches of that, kind of where a lot of the things were that I was going for, that again, I was just trying to find control over. How can I manage this? Like, I might have these things, and I would say they were like triggers for me. And so I essentially was saying, how can I order my life, around these triggers as a way of avoiding that? But the truth is I was afraid of those triggers.
Yeah.
And God didn't want to call me to a life of avoidance. Because really, whatever we fear, we'll worship. And whenever we worship, we're going to order our lives around. And I was ordering my life around avoiding triggers instead of ordering my life around Him and following His presence.
Yeah.
And so the Lord, took me to a much deeper place of, it is so good to identify the triggers. That's great. But I want to heal those triggers. And so I believe God wants to give us more than just a really good management plan of ourselves.
Right.
He wants to give us who He is, His identity, and to be able to walk in that freedom.
That's so good.
The issue of control.
I hear what you're saying. We've never had any kind of issues like that ever. But I do hear what you're saying.
And the issue of triggers.
I can kind of understand. No, I think it's so important. I think that, one of the things that is talked about a lot right now in the church is identity. But I feel like what you're talking about is a slightly different, I think probably more foundational, more important way to look at it. Because I think that identity, this is kind of a generalization that's probably not fair, and I'm probably going to make someone mad. But a lot of times when the church is talking about identity, it's really just kind of like, how can I feel cooler and better about whatever it is that I think that I am, without first actually trying to understand how God really made me. So talk about that. I believe that's one of the things that you dig into in the book also.
Yeah, I think all of those things can be useful tools, but they're meant to be a starting point, not a destination. And I think a lot of times, again, looking for that sense of control, we say, well, I'm this type of person, so therefore this is who I am, and so I'm going to find ways to manage who I am again. And so I do feel like that God is saying, what if we laid aside everything else? For me, something that's been true in my life is that hearing the voice of God was not something that I didn't find hard to do. And many decisions that we've made, we've been married for almost 20 years, and we have only done them not because we wanted to, but because God was saying, just, I want you to do this. So we would do it. And we would do whatever He said we would do. And at some point, God started talking to me years ago about, like, hey, what if you did this? What if you, instead of following my voice, you follow my presence and listen to my voice? And it was like this whole new revelation of, like, whoa, okay. He doesn't just want me to like. I definitely needed to like do what he said, yes.
Right.
But he didn't just want to leave me orders and then let me go, and say just do what I said. God was saying, I want you to look even more like me. Like I want you to catch my heart for this, and I want you to prize my presence even over my voice. Of course, his voice is in his presence, but he wanted me to prize his presence over that. And so, for me, that was really revelatory in how I sought out to know the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ryan, I feel like you got something.
No, I think it's just been huge in just our walk together too, and maturation. I mean, we have a wonderful marriage. We've been married, almost 20 years, 19 years, and we have had. I mean, I think that's probably some of the overlap in our book. We talk about this journey, these stories of God telling us to do things where people are like, "That's wild, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's the Lord?"
Yeah.
We're like, "No, we know it's the Lord." And we do it. And I mean, even us coming out to Reading to start Bethel School of Technology, the Lord had put on our hearts individually at the same time. And then, I think you had asked, is God saying something about California? And he gave us the exact same phrasing. And so we knew we were supposed to come out there. We didn't know, Bethel Tech there wasn't a seed of an idea for us at that moment.
Yeah.
We started bringing that into focus as we took each step of the faith journey. But then, God's goodness is glory to glory. And so what Brianna's talking about is so paramount to our lives individually, but also, as husband and wife, and then how we parent is to seek first his presence. And obviously his voice is in his presence, but that's the thing that we go after.
Yeah.
First and foremost. And everything else is Matthew 6:33 comes into focus when we seek first his presence.
Man, that's so good. I feel like I think it's amazing actually that God is using you guys working together through your own journey as a couple, kind of in these two different areas, because I feel like the season that we're moving into just in the whole world, is kind of hitting this crossroads where it's time, and it's actually way past time, but it's time that God is beginning to start redeeming things like technology. But if we're going to do that well, if we're going to be able to steward that well, the responsibility, if we're going to be able to handle the responsibility, it's essential that we understand thoroughly and truthfully our identity. So it's literally like, even though you might not see these two books right next to each other on the bookshelf in the bookstore because they seemed like the topics are different, I feel like it's unbelievably amazing that you guys have both kind of brought them together, because I think together it's very an essential piece of what's needed as we move into this next season, because things are speeding up. We know this from technology because it's been happening for a long time and Moore's Law and all this stuff, but like everything is speeding up. Because information moves so freely, wars begin and end faster. Like everything is speeding up. And I think if we're going to be, as Christ followers, going into the world and working to kind of bring the kingdom to people in a way that they can actually see God through what we're doing, we have to have this stuff addressed ahead of time. So I am so excited about it. I have been able to read Ryan's book. I have not been able to read your book. So I'm going to order a copy right now on Amazon and get it and go through it. Identity is something we're always talking about in our household. Just constantly talking about, because I believe it may be the first place that the enemy always attacks. I don't have theology for that, but I just believe it to be true.
No, I agree. He always comes at the core of every lie he's going to give you. It's going to be a lie about who God is, a lie about who you are.
Yeah.
Those are what are paramount.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's true that God created every single person on purpose, for a purpose, before the foundations of the earth, if that's true, and I believe that's very obvious in Scripture, then the most logical thing for Satan to attack would be that. And so, he's out there, he's doing it. So you guys, thank you first of all, for being good stewards of what the Lord is walking you through. And then on top of that, taking the time and effort to write a book. It's very difficult. laborious effort to write a book. So thank you for doing that, because I think what God is doing through you guys and these books that you're writing, and I know future things you're going to do, is exactly what we need for this time in history. So thank you for that. Thank you for spending time with us on this show, Together We Build. It's amazing. If you guys if you don't know about these books and you don't know about these two amazing, beautiful people, go to the show notes, click on it, order the books. Just trust me, you're going to want to do it. Order the books, get them. It'll bless your life, but also follow these guys. And I think it's important to do so. Prudence, do you have anything we need to wrap up in any way?
Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of your head. What about the bottom of your head? Is there anything off the bottom?
It'll take too long to get there.
Taking too long? Okay. Let me pray for you guys, and then we'll release you guys. And if you guys are watching again, definitely take the time, go to the show notes, and check this stuff out. It's important. So, Father, thank you for what you're doing through both Brianna and Ryan and the books that they're writing and the place that you're taking all of us, Lord, just in kingdom, like where you're going and what you want us to do. We are so excited for it. So thank you for that. Father, I ask that you would just bless these two amazing people, as well as everybody that's hearing this, that's like, man, I don't know, maybe I should, maybe I need to be thinking about this technology stuff, or I feel like a call to this, but I thought it was evil. I thought it was Satan's playground, or man, I'm just trying to learn my identity, but everything that I study just tells me how cool I am, but I really want to know who I am in you, Lord. If that's you in either of those cases, I ask that you would just speak to them, Holy Spirit. You would just bless them. They would find the resources. They would find you. They'd seek you in this time of learning. So, Father, thank you for what you're doing. We just want to serve you and love you with who we are. In Jesus' name, amen. You guys, this was so fun. It was so awesome. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for just destroying Prudence at the trivia. She needed that. She was getting too prideful and overconfident.
Needed to be taken down a notch.
You guys to help us. So.
Well, thank you. We've had a great time. Just spend this time with you, and just I feel really encouraged to be able to talk with you guys and hear your hearts too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and anytime you guys have something that you want to share with the world, let us know.
Yeah. We'll get on another thing. We'll do another episode. We'll do more trivia, and you'll destroy Prudence again.
I'm gonna be ready.
Yes.
All right, you guys make sure share this episode out if you're watching this. If you don't know about it, if it's the first one you've ever seen, hop over to Eagle Mountain TV, hop over to eaglemountain.global, click on the TV button. Together We Build is a whole bunch of programs produced by Eagle Mountain. There's amazing content there. Definitely, if you've been blessed, go ahead and support this, share it out to the world, and we will see you guys on the next one. See you around. Thank you for watching Together We Build with Chris and Prudence. To learn more about this and other amazing programs, visit eaglemountain.global. To learn more about Chris and Prudence and the ministries they serve, visit chrisandprudence.com.